Je vous demanderai quelques minutes d'attention, s'il vous plaît. Merci pour votre attention. Les quelques personnes qui restent encore debout, merci de vous asseoir. Nous allons débuter à présent. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to welcome you to this second edition of the Swiss WISWO Women Awards. What a wonderful place to celebrate women in this hotel. The soiree will be punctuated by two runs. The first one, more oriented on business and finance and science, composed by 4 women, and the second one composed by 3 women focused on sport and education. The women present on stage tonight are all exceptional and deserve to be duly congratulated to their respective careers. So I have the great honor to present you Angela de WOLFF, Suzanne Riouf, Hania Gibson, Leila de la Rive, Solange Peters, Diana Egenschwiller, and Geraldine Fasnacht. Thank you very much, ladies, for your participation. The whole discussion will be oriented by the thematic Women's Power for Change. Don't just digitize, humanize. And the ceremony will be led by our 2 masters of ceremony. I have the pleasure to welcome Mrs. Sophie Dubuis, entrepreneur, chairwoman of Geneva Tourism Foundation, and members of the board from Banque Cantonale de Genève and Migros Genève. And also Ms. Hongyu Lee, entrepreneur with passion for intercultural bridges between East and West. I already want to thank you for your commitment and passion. I just want to mention that ce ne sont pas leur vrai job, mais ils le font avec grand plaisir. So, merci à vous. Last but not least, a special mention to our main partners, the GUSA, Emil Frey, Corner Card, and Doris Handgartner. Do not hesitate to ask questions to the nominees and vote for the nominee who impacts you the most. Now, enjoy the gala. Let's now start with Sophie and Hongyu. Thank you very much.
Merci, merci. We are happy you made the precision that we are not professional, even if you are a little bit, I know that, thank you. So, we can start. And please be nice with Angela de WOLFF, because she's the first one coming on the stage. Thank you, Angela, to be here. Angela is an entrepreneur dedicated to sustainability and responsible actions in finance. That's a good theme at the moment. She is also, she's been active in the financial sectors, and she created her own firm 26 years ago. Yes. I'm happy because I had the pleasure to be on the same board with Angela in Banque Cantonale de Genève. Unfortunately, she left us for better boards, but she's also active in a lot of boards. So, just to remind you now, you can use the QR code. This is very important for the questions you have for the second part of the interview we made. So please use the QR code, because it will disappear in seconds. I think you have to zoom. It's a bit longer because I'm the first one. So you have to zoom on the QR code And you will have that every time the nominees are coming on the stage. So, and I ask Angela to come and sit, please, for the small interview we're going to have together. So, is it fine for you? So,
Hello? Oui. Yes.
Does it work?
Yes, works.
Good.
Thank you so much. I'm impressed. Wow. So many people. Wow.
Good. As I told you, Angela, you have a solid commitment in the sustainable and the finance sector. Sustainability is central concern at the moment. How would you summarize this linked to the theme tonight in your own career?
Yeah, large question.
I know.
Yeah, I think indeed that sustainability is still and has been really at the heart and the core of all my career. And I would say that both the combination and the taste for innovation and the passion for sustainability has been the major drivers towards my full professional lives. I started as a financial analyst, but in 2000 I turned towards sustainable finance and very committed to this topic. Since then, there have been various creations, my own company to become a verification, ESG verification. We have created 2 associations, Sustainable Finance Geneva, Swiss Sustainable Finance, and also different events. But I think about digitalization, because the topic is about digitalization. It has become obvious, I would say 5-10 years ago, that if you want to remain a credible player, you need to go towards digitalization. Because treating data, this complexity of sustainability requires really to treat it systematically and to provide investor, because I'm working a lot with investor, simple, accessible, and understandable tools to discriminate in sustainability solutions.
Yeah, when we discussed together, what was important for me is to understand, as you are a member of various boards, huge boards, I have to say also, and with your skills, how can you humanize digital culture? Because we had this discussion about examples. What is for you important?
If you look at digitalization, the purpose behind is really to make life easier to people and for ourselves. And for a company is to easy process, to simplify, to reduce the the tasks that are repetitive. But of course, to reach it and to get it as a success, you need, as a board level, as a leader, to keep the control, to understand what is the purpose, why I'm choosing to get into digitalization, to define the principle, the priorities, to test with your employee and your client before to go massively into digitalization.
And not becoming a slave.
Yeah,
that's what you were telling me.
I would say yes. If you, I mean, it's a dream, but if you don't control and if you're not managing properly, it's become a nightmare. And that's the issue about digitalization.
We had a long discussion about, and I think there are a lot of entrepreneurs here, so they will completely agree, and I do agree, with the frustrating journey. And you had a long and frustrating journey because you are a pioneer. You make that for so many years. You were one of the first one. I remember our president of the board told us that you are really a pioneer in that domain. So what is today your biggest satisfaction?
Yeah, they are satisfying. Yeah, indeed. Being involved since 20 years, advising, promoting sustainability, raising awareness about how to do sustainable finance. It has been sometimes pleasure and satisfaction, but also a lot of frustration. I would say that when I look back today, I'm quite proud to have remained resilient, and that today my voice counts on the board, and that's very important. And also that at the level of large investor, I have the trust and the credit, and I can really bring them and support them into this path and magnific journey of sustainable investment. So that's my,
and I think
I would say my most proud.
Because we were talking about frustration and what is difficult, so it was important to find out what is the good about that.
I'm happy I'm not surrounded.
It's good. So now we're going to have normally a gong, because everything is really under control. And we're going to go to the next step. See how we are on time, Angela?
Yeah,
That's a
perfect.
big success. And now we go to the questions of the audience. So, I have the big privilege to choose which question we're gonna have. I think, yeah, that's very important. Do you think that Switzerland has the potential to become a leading place for sustainable finance? Why or why not? And at the same time, maybe you can tell us what you think about Swiss position today.
When I started 20 years ago, Switzerland was really a leading center for sustainable finance. I think we are now getting in, I would say, the right direction. We are not on the front anymore. I'm also quite afraid about what's happening systematically now with the financial center. I think it's not very good news. I think we can still go, because there is one strength in Switzerland: we are pragmatic. And I think Switzerland is doing what they are telling, and it's not just declaration. So I think this is a strength. But in another way, we also like to do slowly, and things, and in particular, the issue of sustainability needs more rapid answer. So I would say it's in between.
The last question, I think, is really an actual question. And as you are in board, what is your vision of future for bank industry regarding the actual situation and the urgent needs for sustainability in our world? So that's one of your main concerns too.
Yes, what I perceive still, I would say not just at banks, but at the investor level, is the fact they say it's not our responsibility to answer. We have the fiduciary duty to make profit and to invest in a smart way. But I think that's not anymore true. I mean, we need at each place to play a role and try to reorient money towards solution, towards smart solution, and I hope that we keep going with joy and also with pleasure. It's not just about constraint, it's not just about fear, it's not just about anxiety. We need to go, we need to do it right, immediate, but still keeping on with positive stance. Otherwise, it's not fun anymore.
So everything about pleasure, that's a little bit what we were talking together before with the nominees, that you are here, 7. We are in a woman world, so there is no winners, there is just women, wonderful women on this stage, and it's a question of recognition and of pleasure.
Yes, that would be fun, right.
So
still a lot of challenge, but yes, just go on.
Pleasure. Thank you,
I
Angela.
finished? Okay.
I'm not sure we're going to have time. I look around. I think...
There were just
Adrienne, which is on our table, has the
they
question about
digitalization. Sorry?
Would the ISSB standardization make the topic really serious?
So the Swiss banking, because is this the Swiss banking, what you...
International level.
I mean, all the board, there is a governance. We are talking a lot, and we are trying to find out standardization. I agree it's not perfect, but I'd still prefer to go on the right direction, and we hope that progressively we will learn, and the standardization will at least improve the capacity to talk about sustainability, because sometimes it's a little bit talk but not actions. So that's another point. And there were a question about is it contradictory to do digitalization and sustainability? I think we need to keep control, but we need digitalization to solve problem. So technology will be also part of the solution. So it's how to manage both, but it's not opposed.
And the last question, maybe which, as we have time, which skills do you see as missing in most of them in the boards you are in?
Wow, they are so different. It's hard to say. I think what is important, what I find interesting in the board, it's not a person as such, but it's a dynamic. And when we learn from each other, when we capture and exploit the best of each members, that makes the best boards. But it's really the extraction of the best expertise.
Yeah,
and knowledge and values.
And values of all the members.
Of all the
That's
members.
the discussion
All
we
the
have.
members, right.
And from
Yes.
different domains.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a huge question.
Okay.
I think we still have time because there should be a gong. So what
Oh,
are
okay,
your
sorry.
thoughts on how to increase female representation in boards? Or some
Wow.
ideas, maybe, concrete?
Yeah, I was yesterday with a man, and he said, you know, normally I should. They perceive the fact that today they are just women looking for boards and accepted in boards. So there is a movement now to increase the presence of women, and I think the balance, or at least to have representative of both, it's so important. It's really, yes, it's a balance.
Thank you, Angela.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please applause. I go back in.